Everything changed in a matter of seconds. Welcome to NFL Nexus. Today we are unpacking a truly fascinating, high-stakes situation currently developing in Denver. The Broncos are staring down a 2026 season where the margins for error aren't just small, they are literally razor thin. The expectations have completely skyrocketed. We're going to dive deep into the data and the source material today to look at the anatomy of their championship window and the incredibly unique, totally unexpected philosophy they are adopting just to keep it open. The clock is ticking and the pressure is on. Section 1. Heartbreak and a New Era. To truly understand where these Broncos are going, we have to go back and look at the exact moment everything turned upside down, the 2025 AFC Divisional Round. The Broncos pull off a massive win against the Buffalo Bills, but at a catastrophic cost. Bo Nix goes down, a devastating broken ankle. He ultimately endured not one, but two grueling surgeries to repair it. Think about the psychological toll of that. You finish the regular season 14-3. You make an AFC championship appearance. You have the world in the palm of your hand. And suddenly, you're spending the entire offseason rehabbing. This left the franchise with one massive, echoing question. What happens now? Because of that 14-3 finish, the do-or-die pressure riding on this 2026 campaign is absolutely immense. They are racing against a clock that doesn't care about injuries.
Section 2. The Street Ball Revolution.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this is where the story gets really wild. Head coach Sean Payton is legendary for being one of the most meticulous, controlling offensive minds in the history of the sport. Every step is planned. But going into 2026, we are witnessing a massive, unexpected philosophical shift. On July 7th, Payton sat down with ESPN's Seth Wickersham and delivered a quote that practically shook the fan base. He said, "Boo wants to play street ball, so I'm going to create some street ball." Let the gravity of that sink in for a second. Sean Payton is willingly relinquishing his famously rigid control. He's taking the strict structure of his playbook and deliberately injecting it with chaos, entirely based on his quarterback's instincts. That just doesn't happen every day. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer magnitude of this gamble. Look at the stark contrast between these two philosophies. On the left side, you have the methodical offense. This is the old way, huddling up, carefully orchestrating matchups, executing a planned, step-by-step meticulous approach. On the right side, street ball. It's about lightning fast, quick tempo. It's skipping the huddle altogether. It's total free reaction, giving the quarterback the ultimate freedom to just react to the defense in real time. It's a complete shift from a chess match to an absolute shootout. So what does this all mean? Why would a traditionally rigid coach suddenly agree to tear up the script? The answer comes down to this exact number, 6. In 2025, Bo Nix orchestrated 6 fourth-quarter comebacks. Think about what that actually means on the field. 6 different times the meticulously planned script failed. 6 times the game was entirely on the line, the walls were closing in, and Nix had to create magic completely outside of the play structure. Those 6 comebacks are exactly why Payton is finally willing to let his quarterback create outside the pocket. He realized that Nick's survival instincts are just as valuable as the playbook itself. Section 3. The Wide Receiver Dilemma. Let's move to the roster and see how this builds, because this transition to a faster, aggressive, instinct-driven offense instantly forces some incredibly difficult, high-stakes decisions. Take a look at this shockingly crowded wide receiver room. Back in March, the Broncos executed an absolute blockbuster acquisition, bringing in Jalen Waddle to pair alongside Courtland Sutton. But it doesn't stop there. Right behind them on the depth chart, you have Pat Bryant, Marvin Mims, and Troy Franklin. It is a massive logjam of top-tier talent. And in the NFL, keeping all of these guys happy and paid is a luxury they simply might not be able to afford. The street ball window is open, but someone is going to be left out in the cold. Which brings us squarely to Troy Franklin. Look at these numbers from 2025. 65 receptions, 709 yards, 6 touchdowns. Those are career-high numbers. He proved he is more than capable at this level, and he has this undeniable, deeply ingrained instinctual connection with his former college quarterback, Bo Nix. But here's the massive dilemma. Because Franklin produced at such a high level at just 23 years old, his trade value is currently soaring through the roof. And with his major contract year looming in 2027, he is a prime, highly realistic candidate to be moved. So what do you do if you're the front office? Do you keep the invaluable chemistry he has with Nix, or do you capitalize on the asset's trade value before you lose him for nothing? It's a brutal, complex decision that could make or break the offense. Section 4. The Special Teams Ace.
Now, we've talked a lot about blockbuster offensive trades and flashy receivers, but we need to pivot for a second. We need to talk about the brutal, unseen margins that actually win championships. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this staggering percentage, 83%. That is the massive special teams snap rate that safety Tyson Anderson commanded for the Cincinnati Bengals in 2025. A guy like Anderson doesn't grab the headlines, but he has forged his entire career by being a heavily utilized, reliable asset in a phase of the game that literally determines the outcome of tight playoff matchups.
Denver clearly sees a very specific trajectory here. To put this into perspective, Anderson, a former fifth-round pick, has logged a whopping 850 special teams snaps in his career, compared to just 64 snaps on defense. This mirrors the exact blueprint of departed safety P.J. Locke. Locke walked this exact path. He started out as a pure, hard-nosed special teams ace. He grinded away, earned the absolute trust of the coaching staff, and eventually transformed into a vital reserve safety in Denver's system. The Broncos are making a highly calculated bet that Anderson can replicate that exact same evolution and quietly secure the margins of this roster.
Section 5. The 2026 Super Bowl Stakes.
Let's zoom out for a second and look at the massive scale of the AFC right now. The Broncos have a totally rebuilt offense. They've fortified the margins of their roster, and the 2026 Super Bowl stakes are incredibly high. Yet despite a 14-3 record last year, look at the shocking disrespect Bo Nix is still facing from national analysts. Sports Illustrated's Matt Verderam recently released his preseason quarterback rankings, and he placed Nix way down at number 18. Sure, he's ranked ahead of massive names like C.J. Stroud, Aaron Rodgers, and Kyler Murray, but he is still blocked completely out of the top 17. So the crucial point is this. Despite Nix averaging 7.0 yards per attempt in 13 of his 34 career games, Verderam essentially argues that with the weapon like Jalen Waddle now on the field, Nix simply has no more excuses. He is demanding Nix produce at a top 10 clip immediately if he wants to be taken seriously as an elite threat.
Which brings us to the defining, ultimate question of this upcoming season. The methodical scripts are changing, the huddles are being completely reduced. An entirely new, aggressive offensive philosophy is taking hold in the Mile High City. The street is calling. Will Denver answer? Will this wild street ball gamble lead the Denver Broncos to a championship ring, or will stepping away from Sean Payton's traditional structure backfire and result in a total rebuild? There is absolutely no middle ground here. It's going to be one of the most fascinating football experiments we've ever seen. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and explore more deep, cinematic dives into the league just like this one, you know what to do. Make sure to subscribe to NFL Nexus. Drop a like on the video if you appreciated this explainer, and I want to hear from you down in the comments. Do you think this street ball philosophy will win Denver a championship, or is it going to blow up in their faces? Let your voice be heard. And hey, if you really love what we do here, support the channel by becoming a channel member. Until next time, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.